Hey guys, I'm back. Mike, once again. I want to go over the comm system or the IFB system in the NT trucks. Most of the NT trucks, I would imagine, have this system in here. Some of our PSI trucks might have it as well. But I wanted to go over things because there's a lot of buttons on this thing. It can be a little confusing. So let's just kind of break it down for you. If you look at the front panel, all kinds of buttons. But what you need to know is that there's just two discrete outputs of this box. Okay, this is all of this right here is channel 1, and it says it down here, channel 1, and this is all channel 2. Now within each one of those channels, you have a bunch of different sources you can select from. It's actually 6 of them. You have 4 line level input sources that you can select, whether it's from a mixer or whatever, maybe the CD player, whatever you want. Any line level source you can select on those first 4. The last 2 are actually the telcos, the phone latches that are built into the system. Okay, and you can select them as a source as well. Now the cool thing is that you can have a telco 1 selected on channel 1, and you can also have telco 2 selected on channel 2. So you can do 2 discrete IFBs, 2 different live shots out of one box. A couple other things you need to know too. You have an interrupt here. Okay, you can interrupt channel 1, or you can interrupt channel 2, and that way you can talk. I mean, there's also some remote, user panels too. But for the most part, if you need to talk to your talent, here's one. Here's channel 2. If you look over to the, also there's gain adjustments here. So any source that you're getting over here, you can adjust your gain level depending. Maybe you have a station that's a little bit lower than another station. You can adjust gain here. So that's what that's for. Coming across the box over here, you have this box sources over here. It's voice operated interrupts. We don't really use that, but it's there. Okay, so let's just leave that alone. We won't mess with it. Next to that, we have telco 1. And the way the telco works, if you plug a hard line or a cell phone into it, it senses that voltage, and you hit the button up, it'll see that voltage and it'll latch it. Then you're good to go. If you want to release it, you just push down. Okay, and that's the same for telco 1 and for telco 2. But telco 2 is a little different, that you have the option of actually sending audio. Okay, telco 1 can only receive audio. Telco 2 can send and or receive. Can't do both at the same time. That would be a digital hybrid. That's not what this box does. It can either send one signal or receive one. Okay, but if you wanted to receive a signal, just keep it in the middle position. The switch here, keep it in the middle, and just hit your latch. As long as the phone line's there and it sees the voltage, it'll latch it, and everything's fine. Then you get a second IFB. If you wanted to send something, then you just send channel 1 and you latch it. Okay, or send channel 2, whatever you want. So whatever you select on channel 1, you could send the channel 1 on telco 2, or vice versa. You can send it on channel 2, whatever you want to do. Okay, so once again, six inputs. Okay, whatever you want to do. First 4 are line level inputs. Second 2 are the built-in latches inside the truck, and we'll show you from behind the device here in a second. So telco 1, telco 2, and then 2 latches. Okay, telco 2 being the one that you can actually send or receive. Can't do both, one or the other. Keep that in mind. Then you have a level control on the other side here that controls your monitoring. If you want to monitor channel 1, channel 2, and it's separate. This volume control does not affect the output up there. It only affects what you're listening to. Okay, let's turn to the back side of this box. It's down here. And you'll notice a couple things here. Like I said, it's a 2-channel system. So there's 2 phone line inputs in here, telco 1, telco 2. And then the button back here for whether it's wet or standard voltage lines, it's going to be standard, and it'll sense the voltage. And if you feed it a phone line from, like I said, the truck, a cell phone, or a hard line that you get, you're good to go. This is your monitor port. It probably goes somewhere in the truck to a speaker or to an audio board, that kind of stuff. It's already pre-wired, but just know this is a 1/4-inch output. You could send it really anywhere. It's dry audio. Okay. Moving over to the right, you'll see that there's 3 outputs. Okay, and that's what I want to talk about. Output to talent amplifiers. That means that there's voltage on it. Okay, and then if you look at the other 2, there's 2 line outputs. That means they're dry outputs. And if you don't understand that, I can give you a simple demonstration. This is the IFB box that comes with the Studio Technologies, right? And that it gets hooked up to the wet output of this truck. And that wet output will have 2 channels riding on it. And the reason that this works, because this sends voltage out that port, and you'll see the light light up, okay? The other ports right here, line 1 and line 2, they're dry outputs. So it's not going to power this box. It's not going to work. You would need something like this with a GKC box that has a battery in it. And that's the difference between wet outputs and dry outputs. If there's a battery associated with it, it needs a dry output. If it's a wet output, it's being powered off of the system, and it should be some sort of light, or you could put a meter on it, or that kind of stuff, and you'll see this voltage that's coming down that XLR line. Okay, so wet and dry. Make sure that you don't put a wet output into this thing, because you will fry it. Okay, and vice versa. If you want to take the dry output and you put it in this box, it's not going to work because it needs power from this, and it's not getting it. Okay, wet and dry. If you guys have any more questions about that, we can go deeper into that in another video. And then we talked about the 4 inputs on the front of the box, A, B, C, and D, and that's essentially all it is. It's line inputs that just gives you 4 different inputs that you can select, that you can feed it. It doesn't really matter what you're feeding it, but you have 4 inputs, and you just select it on the front, and it'll go out whichever channel you want to go out. If you selected channel A, and you selected for that to go in both channels, then it will go out both line outputs. It'll also go out the wet output. Everything you select on the front is going to go out the wet output, because the wet output has both channels carrying on it. The dry output only has that one channel. Okay, so make sure you understand that as well. And then there's an aux input here too for, I don't know what you're going to use. This is remote access too, so we don't really mess with this stuff. But essentially, line level inputs, if you need to feed something different, like if I'm doing an SMT and I'm switching between the telcos I have here, plus I have to do a phoner. A phoner means that I need to send and receive audio down the same device. I would use a DH20 or something similar that I can send audio and receive audio, and I'd feed it back into my A channel. And then when I do a phoner, all I need to do is switch to the A side of this box, and then boom, now we're good to go. I'm going out that same cable, and everybody's going to be fine. Because this box cannot send and receive at the same time. You can, telco 2 or channel 2 can send or receive, but it can't do both. I think that's it. Maybe I spoke too fast, but tell me what you think. Is there any other kind of videos that you guys would like to see, or RF-wise, you could talk to AJ or Paul, myself. Production-wise, 3-point lighting, you can talk to the man behind the camera here, Mark. Production, Tracy, myself, whatever it is, and maintenance, you want to talk to Matt Hennekins. I mean, these videos don't cost us anything to make. So whatever you guys would like to do, now's the time to do it. We got plenty of time. Let's, give us some feedback.